RAF wouldn't dare sully himself by deigning to speak with one of them, but he'd ordered his wife to do his dirty work. /edits at the bottom. This happened to me, circa 2004. Warning, this story is not funny. Malicious compliance of a different color changed my life for the better. Still gives me chills. // Working McDonald's drive / through. No speaker. 2 order windows and a 3rd pickup window. Charles is working window 1. I'm working window 2. Charles is black, ripped, tall, huge, has prison tats all down his arms, somewhere between half an ounce or 2 of fat on his body. Picture Terry Crews with darker skin and black tats to the wrists. Charles is equal parts charming, soft / spoken, humble, and ambitious. He knew where he had been and was determined to change his life. Probably one of the best men I'll have ever met. Enter green minivan. We had both taken orders at the same time and mine was long gone. Charles' order was taking forever. Probably 4 minutes just taking the order before payment. I come over to check on Charles. Before I get close I notice he's blocking the frame of the window so I can't hear anything. It's an awkward position for him and blatantly obvious. He moves his hand out to me out of sight of the van and gives me the stop sign. Back off. Time passes. Manager on duty comes out to check the issue. He waves her off. She protests. I tell her to wait and see. Something is deeply wrong. Suddenly, Charles points the van down to the other window and leaps into action. Slams the window, shoves past us without a word, and races to the 3rd window. Manager and I look at each other, check for other cars, none / then follow at a distance. Manager had been running the order but Charles took over and personally handled every part of the order with the speed of a madman and quality of a 5 / restaurant. He grabs a new batch of fries. He has the cook triple check each burger. Breaks a cardinal rule of the store and shows the van all the kids' meal toys we have for personal preference. Drinks and condiments are handed out and Charles gives them a genuine smile and enthusiastically thanks them for being customers. Have a great night. We'll see you soon. / Charles waits until they are out of sight before returning from the window and visibly shaken, walks back to his register. Manager starts to fuss about an explanation she's owed but Charles just says he can't yet. His legendary Zen calm is severely damaged. After a few minutes to get a drink, wipe the sweat off his face and compose himself, he opens up. Van had rolled up. Charles had greeted them with the usual, "Welcome to McDonald's, what can I get for you this evening?" and his winning smile. White father driving waits for Charles to finish and with a loud sneer had turned to the wife and for all to hear said, "You order, hun. I don't talk to N /s." Wife turns to the 2 young kids, probably 8 and 10. Impressionable, learning, watching. They had locked eyes on Charles. They'd seen his tats. They'd listened to the hateful otherizing of those people from birth. Charles decided that he had it within him to reach for something better. Father be damned, he's long gone. Charles decided that he had a message for those boys. The wife patiently and sheepishly took the excruciatingly and needlessly complicated order from the father and then had to speak past him to Charles. Same for the kids. Like mustard, 3 pickles, etc. Perfectionism. Charles reached down inside himself for something that neither I nor the manager possessed and he gave the wife a genuine smile as he whipped out the order. The father knew he had been served a dish he thought impossible to serve. It was served with kindness and compassion and a compliance that defied everything he'd told them about those people. / The kids both waved to Charles from the back of the van as the father pulled away. They liked their new friend. / edit. Wow. I'm deeply honored at the responses this got. I was thinking a few hundred might see it and say it was neat. / thank you for the gold. I'm honored to be a witness to what Charles did and to honor his story. / it really happened sometime between 2002 and 2004 in Arlington, Texas. Dates are fuzzy because I was a dorky college kid, 17 / 18ish / and was dealing with lots of other issues at the time. / here's a Google Street View from 2008 that shows the store as it was. The layout was weird. Window 1, Charles' register for ordering, was facing west. Window 2, Dorky College Me's register, further down the curve of the building facing southwest. Window 3, pick up food and drinks facing south. Edits at the bottom. Backslash for those that have asked what makes this malicious compliance, I've had / 15 years to think through it all. 1. The stated intent was for Charles to be forced to serve them in a degrading and humiliating manner. The spirit of the order was goading and baiting Charles with an impossible task. Racist, coconut father, RAF / wanted Charles to slam the window in his face. Simply doing his job was a slap in the face of the request. Ergo, malicious compliance. 2. RAF had thought he was clever by making his reprehensible statement, but what he'd also done was write a check that his wife was forced to cash. RAF wouldn't dare sully himself by deigning to speak with one of them, but he'd ordered his wife to do his dirty work. By taking the order, Charles was humiliating RAF and allowing RAF's demand to debase his own wife in front of him. By dragging the order out to make sure we get it right, he made the wife add insult to injury by repeating things from RAF to her to Charles and then back again. 3. In my mind's eye, I can picture Charles staring very intently at a sweaty, greasy RAF as Charles holds his hands out waiting for payment. I can imagine Charles gently holding a hand mere inches from RAF's face and then placing the change back in hers. You won't talk to me, therefore you'll have to watch as I touch your wife with my hands, right in front of your children. 4. The last part of the order was also the most crucial. If any part of it had been less than perfect, the magic would have been lost. Charles made sure that nobody else handled anything for them. He was responsible for everything being perfect. That's why he hustled. The order was made excellent by Charles doing all the work. You hate black people, yet every bite of this meal is going to be the best meal you've ever had here because I made IT better. 5. The RAF drove off with his tail so tucked it must have hurt. His wife had been dragged through the mud by his own demands, some black guy had made friends of his own children, and the coals from Charles' fire had been heaped onto his head, again, all in front of his own family because of his idea of being snarky or funny and racist. / I wish I knew where Charles was or what happened to him. I love the idea of seeing where those boys went and what impact he had on their terrible childhoods. This is Reddit though. Arlington, Texas, 2002 / 2004, Charles from McDonald's on Matlock and Sublet / God butternut, this may be the best thing I've read in this sub yet. Thanks. I'm still shaking a little bit from writing it. I'd never experienced real racism in person or seen it happen. I knew about it, but this was a slap to all of our faces. Charles found a better job and moved on within a few months. Everyone at the store knew he was bound for greater things. I wish I knew how to contact him. A few months later, the other cashier, Stephen, who had trained me on the registers and was the only other black cashier at the store / was fired for stealing out of his own register. About a month after he was fired, he showed up as we were trying to leave at 2 a.m. and put a shotgun to my head trying to rob the safe. The cops caught him after a brief chase and a K / 9 ran him up a nearby house roof. I'm still not sure what to make of all of that. That's some turn the other cheek zucchini right there. I've been around the world, been shot at, rocketed, stared some pretty heavy things down in combat zones and dark alleys, but to this day that was still the most shocking response that I could imagine to that situation. I know that I don't have in me what Charles had in him. Adding Charles to my list of role models along with Docs, Bob Ross, and Mr. Rogers. Godspeed, Charles. You making all of us proud. Let it be known, on this day, Charles is added to the Reddit pantheon of heroes. Way to go, Charles. I left out the manager's reaction afterwards. She freaked out on him and demanded to know why he did that when she was supposed to slam the window in the dad's face. He was still cooling off with a drink but stood up to his full height and stared her down. He's like 6 feet 3 inches. She was 4 feet 11 inches and suddenly felt her size. That's when he explained that what he did wasn't for Charles, her, me, the dad, or even that poor woman he's got speaking for him. It was for the boys in the back and ending ignorance with him. If I had responded with anger, I'd have proved him right and he could turn to them and say, see? They're nothing but angry n/s. I gave them a message. I might be the first black man to ever show them something better. Severely paraphrased from 14/15 years ago, but that whole thing is seared into me. I think a part of his plan was personally touching everything. That would drive the father insane. Also, yes and no. Depending on the complexity of the order, there may have been a high risk for portions to be lost in translation, or the line cook receiving the order may not have the same attention to detail since they didn't understand the true meaning of the order and Charles' reaction to it. It wasn't to spite the father, it was in spite of him. My first job was waitressing at a 50s diner-style burger joint. I think I was about 16. It was a sweet gig. My co-workers were generally nice, the customers were a mixed bag. Though we did have one homeless guy that would come in and do our food challenge weekly for a free meal. He was cool. Anyways, to the story at hand, I had a family come in. If I remember correctly, it was the tradition: dad, mom, 2 kids. It was lunch rush and basically all the tables and the bar were filled. So, I'm taking their order and the dad asks for a burger. Me, what would you like on that burger? Dad, everything. Me, well, we have a lot of options. I gesture to the menu section containing the topping choices. The dad does a once over, clearly not long enough to read, looks back at me and states, Dad, everything. At this point, I should note we had a bunch of choices. Looking at the restaurant's menu, they currently have mustard, onions, slaw, chili, mayo, ketchup, lettuce, tomatoes, pickles, grilled jalapenos, grilled mushrooms, grilled onions, grilled bell peppers. I feel like there was even more choices when I worked there. The place also had 4 to 5 cheese options. I asked the dad a few more times if he's sure. Even tried to list the toppings. His wife even tried to explain the situation. I could tell he was getting agitated, but I also knew he didn't know what everything meant. Eventually, I take his word for it and attempt to get the rest of his order. Me, do you want cheese? Dad, I said everything. Me, well, we have 4. Dad, everything. Yikes. I want to point out he's literally yelling here. Those exclamation points are not for emphasis. Well, I finished taking the table's order. On the ticket, I remember specifically taking the time to meticulously write out every ingredient as clearly as I could. The tickets were small and each ingredient was denoted by an acronym, so it was a challenge to fit everything. I also made sure to include every possible cheese. I knew this monstrosity was going to be sent back. I knew it was an abomination, but I was determined to give that man what he asked for. The line cooks looked at me like, you sure? With a simple nod, I pulled the trigger. I walked that burger out to the man with the biggest cheesecake eating grin. It had to have been 2 pounds of sloppy, wet burger. The annoyance on his face would have been reward enough, but as predicted, the father called my manager over and complained. My manager came to me fuming. Clearly had been chewed out by the man. You know, you have to ask the customers what they want on their burgers. I did. Well, the man at table 11 said he didn't ask for that. Mind you, I was still 16 at this point and timid. Still, I explained the situation. My manager's demeanor changed and he had a little smirk on his face. My manager asked me to follow him back to the table and grabbed a menu on the way. Manager, hi sir, I need some clarity. What exactly did you ask for on your burger? Customer, everything but. My manager opened the menu on the table, pointing to the topping options. Manager, sir, this is everything. This is what's on your burger. I'll be happy to remake the burger to your specifications if you can give them this time, but we are very busy and it could take a while. Classiest Robin, please take his order. So I did. I can't remember his actual order anymore, but it was definitely a more traditional burger. Probably took about 10 minutes to come out, so his family was mostly done with their meal while he was beginning. Edit, thanks for the gold/silver guys. Also, some people have been saying, why didn't you give him the standard option? 1. This is /r/MaliciousCompliance. I was maliciously complying. B. My job didn't have a standard. The menu is set up so the customer first chose the kind of burger they want, then the cheese they want, Then the toppings. This is a newer menu than what was there when I worked there, but it kinda explains it. If I were to guess what he wanted, I probably would have given him lettuce, tomato, mayo, ketchup, mustard, pickles. Someone commented saying mustard is basically a sin. Other people have commented that if they asked for an everything burger they'd want what I gave the dad. Everything doesn't mean the same thing to everyone. The guy was yelling at a 16-year-old. Had this same kind of thing at a Subway I worked at. Dude had been kicked out of the store during the day, when the owners were there, but still came in at night when all of us teens were working. He ordered a meatball and told me, "I want everything on it, don't zucchini it up. I am going to the liquor store next door." I tried to ask what he meant by everything and he just gave me a cheesecake look and walked out. I put every ingredient we had on that sub, including all the sauces, mayo, mustard, and every veggie we had. Got finished wrapping it right as he walked back in. He paid and left. Never had the fun of seeing his face, but he also never came back, so it was still a win. Plot twist, you made it exactly how he likes it. In work in a pizza place, I once got an order for a garbage pizza. Important to note, no such pizza has ever existed on our menu. I politely asked what exactly they wanted on this pizza. Everything. Okay, could you be more specific? We have a ton of toppings. Everything. It's a garbage pizza, you put everything on it. So you want me to include everything? She was getting pissed and I was done. Are you sure you want all of our toppings? That's what I said. We put every single topping on that pizza. Sausage, pepperoni, Canadian bacon, pineapple, jalapenos, banana peppers, sauerkraut, shrimp, chicken, bacon, onions, on and on. It was an absolute monstrosity. It smelled coconut awful. She picked it up, opened the box and started freaking out. What the hell is this butternut? What the butternut is this? It's everything, mom. You told me you wanted every single topping we have. This is it. She wanted a refund, we said no. You got what you ordered. She pulled the whole "I'm never coming back" and stayed true to her word. Why do people threaten people making $7.25/h or less, in my case not including tips, with never coming back? I could literally not give less of a banana. Please tell me each ingredient had a surcharge and this clown got slapped with a $20 inedible dumpster fire of a burger. I wish. Ingredients are free. Cheese could have cost $1 extra per slice. I asked my manager how to charge him and he said charge him for the burger he ate or something like that. So no luck. I get pleasure from the man realizing he was a huge turd when he saw his huge turd burger. True alpha move is to take the everything burger and eat it right in front of him. I should have called the homeless guy to do it. /r/DeliciousCompliance. I would have eaten that. I ordered everything, damn it. Boss said I wasn't using enough wet floor signs while mopping. Honestly, why do you have that many wet floor signs? Asking the real questions here. Keep them up all the time and watch people be super cautious while they shop. Problem being, once regulars get used to them, they will quit paying attention even when the floor is wet, and inevitably someone will slip and get hurt. You need signs to warn people not to trip over the other signs. Not enough, need more hanging from the ceiling.